Hello and welcome back. This is Sherry with Full Armor of God, and I'm going to play this video that I took off of my TV last night, and this is what prompted me to realize that I had received prophetic messages from the Holy Spirit about, well, you'll see in a moment what I'm going to talk about.
Washington, D.C. Appeals Court issued a stay on the gag order placed on Donald Trump in the 2020 election case brought by Special Counsel Jack Smith. A three-judge panel made up of two Obama appointees and a Biden appointee had scheduled oral arguments on the gag order for November 20th. But until then, Trump remains free to hurl verbal attacks against the Special Counsel and his staff. Federal Judge Tanya Chutkan found that the gag order is necessary because Trump's verbal attacks on witnesses and others could inspire violence from his supporters, which is exactly what happened on January the 6th. We are so accustomed to following the day-to-day legal action and Trump's constant unhinged social media rants about being persecuted by the justice system and the Biden administration that we have become numb to just how abnormal this really is.
Okay, so let me show you what I heard. On Monday, October the 30th, I heard taken to task. At 11:25 p.m. So I looked up on Strong's Concordance. And 11:25, as you can see, is Grapho. Which means to write. I write, pass, it is written, it stands, written. Now, I believe that this means that with this gag order that he was forbidden to write or put on his social media, these comments that were derogatory about the staff members in the courtroom. And I believe that's what that's referring to. Also, taken to task, I wasn't quite sure what taken to task meant, so I looked it up on Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Take to task means to call someone to account for a shortcoming, to criticize or correct for some fault or failing. Now, I believe this could have a double meaning. I believe it's taking to task Donald Trump for his shortcoming of criticizing people in the court case for January 6th, which is against the law, and or it could be him attempting to take to task through his criticisms those people who are actually working in the courtroom, their responsibility in fulfilling their duties as court officials. So I think that could have a double meaning. Okay, then I heard appellate court. That same evening on October the 30th. At 11:29 p.m. So I looked up $11:29, and it is in Strong's Hebrew to build. It's bana. Now, I believe this could have a double meaning too, because bana, if you think about it, it could mean that former President Trump is trying to build a case that his First Amendment rights are being violated, as well as he would, in his companies, he would build different types of resorts and hotels. And so I believe that that could have a double meaning as well. And then at 11:35, I heard the words rabble-rouser. And again, these were all taken down on the day that I heard them on here. Monday, October 30th. Taken to task, appellate court, and Rabble-Rouser. So I looked up Rabble-Rouser. On Merriam-Webster.com, and it says, one that stirs up the masses of the people as to hatred or violence. So that sounds to me like Donald Trump. And as well, I did find another video that makes it more clear of exactly what's going on, because there's no precedence for this as to all of these court cases that are currently taking place against Donald Trump while he's running for presidency. So let me play that for you, and then I'm going to end the video. Here it is.
Donald Trump's gag order in the federal election interference case just put on hold. CNN's chief legal affairs correspondent, Paula Reed, is working this important story for us. Paula, tell us more about this ruling.
Wolf, here, the Federal Appeals Court has temporarily frozen a gag order imposed on former President Trump here in Washington. And they have fast-tracked an oral argument about whether this is constitutional. And they'll hear those arguments on November 20th. Now, this gag order was imposed by Judge Tanya Chutkan. She's the federal judge overseeing the election subversion case brought by special counsel Jack Smith here in the district. And she imposed this gag order barring Trump from targeting witnesses in the case, members of the court staff, and even the special counsel itself, the prosecutors working on this case. And she imposed that gag order at the request of prosecutors, but she did not limit his ability to talk about Washington, D.C., the potential jury pool, or the Justice Department, which prosecutors had also sought protection.
As you notice, this judge is a woman, and I believe that when I heard appellate court, let me just show you. In Strong's Concordance, I believe it means woman. At 11:29 p.m. No, actually, it's the one that I heard at 11:35 p.m. I know one of them was woman, so it would have been Rabble-Rouser. And 11:35. Definition is a woman. Okay, so that's the judge, I believe. Okay, now let me continue with the video.
Protections for those two groups. But here, she has argued, she has said, look, I understand he has a First Amendment right, but that must yield to the orderly administration of justice. And she said that she has to put on a trial. She needs to protect members of her staff, people involved in this case, just trying to do their jobs. And that is why she has imposed this gag order. And she also declined to freeze it herself while these appeals play out. The former president's lawyers, though, have argued that this is a violation of his First Amendment. They point to the fact that he is once again running for the White House and that what they describe as, quote, political speech deserves the highest protection. But a 3-judge panel will hear arguments on this issue in just a few weeks. This is a pretty fast track here, pretty quick move from this decision to freeze 2 oral arguments. Wolf, it appears that the Court of Appeals is mindful of the need to decide this issue quickly and keep this case moving along.
Paula, can the government appeal this ruling?
Well, this is the appeals process. It will depend on what the appeals court ultimately decides. They here are going to hear arguments on November 20th. Then they will make a decision. If either side does not like how that turns out, they can certainly appeal to the Supreme Court.